So one of the fundamental things we need to do as we are preparing for mobile government is we need to be able to define exactly what are these mobile devices that we are going to be providing these services on. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the mobile advantages, disadvantages, why mobile growth is an important thing to consider, and defining what exactly is a smartphone and why does it matter when we're deploying mobile services. We want you to be able to recognize the difference between true mobile devices and what is simply portable devices, understand the new factors affecting the mobile audience, and finally, to be able to define smartphone versus feature phone. We begin by covering some of the mobile advantages, and one of the first things we want to acknowledge is the constant sharing of data. Unlike a laptop or a desktop, which may have communicated over a network, we have to understand that with wireless devices, it's not simply just cellular data. It's not even just Wi-Fi. There's also Bluetooth. There's NFC, iBeacon for iPhone devices. There's a multitude of different protocols that exist for sharing data amongst them. And it's quite different from what we've seen with previous electronic devices. We need to understand that there is suddenly location capabilities that we didn't have before. Even though laptops have become smaller, still, when people use them, they tend to sit down in one place. Phones are always on the move. They are used for navigation, hence why you see GPS involved in so many different mobile devices, but not really in laptops. Motion sensors. These are critical. You need to understand why they're there. It has everything to do with the user experience. Anyone who has ever rotated a phone to see a video a little bit clearer understands why understanding the phone orientation is so important. Camera, microphone, clearly wouldn't be a smartphone or any phone at all without any of those. And finally, we need to understand that these mobile devices, particularly with the Apple iPhones, allow us to have a greater consistency of hardware across the many platforms that exist. Everything sounds wonderful, but there are many mobile disadvantages that we need to be aware of as well. First, device resources are not nearly as abundant as they are on non-mobile devices. CPUs, not nearly as fast. RAM, not nearly as available. Storage, much smaller. We also have to understand that the device is not always connected. We could be on an airplane, we could be turning it off, we could be in a theater, it doesn't matter. The device still runs, but it's not connected to the internet. We have to understand that this may be a limitation that affects the applications we build. We also have a smaller size screen. This is a very big limitation because anything with a larger screen grows. It does not fit into pockets or purses. The definition of being a mobile device begins to disappear as the screen gets larger. Finally, perhaps the biggest concern of all, battery. Mobile devices aren't connected to a power source, at least not one that plugs into a wall. They must carry it with them, hence the battery, which means we must be very concerned with our applications and how much they use in terms of processing power. That's going to take away from the battery, and we need to make sure that our applications are not at fault for draining a user's battery. Mobile is important, most of all because it is expected that this is the year. In 2014, it is expected that end-user devices connected to the internet are going to be more mobile than non-mobile. That means with every passing day, less devices are connected to the internet that are not by definition mobile devices that we are targeting with mobile government. So what exactly is a smartphone? These mobile devices, we keep hearing about them. Of all the devices on the screen here, what's a smartphone and what's not? That is actually a definition that changes with time. You see, improvements in technology, it changes the hardware that we use to build these devices. Changes in hardware can lead to improvements in operating systems. Improvements in operating systems leads to improvements in capabilities, improvements in experience. What is a smartphone? What is a feature phone? How do you define it? What I tend to find is that, well, for all the capabilities that one may have over another, if you have a device in your hand and it feels like you just have a telephone, that's a feature phone. But if it feels like you have a small computer in the palm of your hand that can give you all the information in the world right at your fingertips. I think that's what we would call a smartphone. So to review, we need to understand mobile devices. These provide a brand new array of sensors and capabilities that don't exist with simply taking existing non-mobile technologies and simply making them smaller. Device resource limitations, these do present unique challenges, and we will have to find creative solutions to handle them. Finally, hardware and mobile operating systems. These are what define a smartphone versus a feature phone. So, quiz. True or false? Mobile devices do not offer any new features. They do offer the same abilities as non-mobile devices, but only in a smaller device. True or false? Question 2. Battery life is a major concern with mobile devices. True or false? There is no clear, universal definition for what is a smartphone, in part because the technology is always changing and improving. True or false?